Nits, these really are two of the strongest players in North America.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I think one of the things that makes them really strong is not just their word knowledge, which is impeccable and out of this world, but also the way that they approach the game. I think that they're not just equity bots. They're not just thinking, okay, well, statically, this leave is better than this. These tiles are better than these. They're thinking about the board as it moves, how they construct it, and how it will develop over different moves. And I think that really sets them apart.
Yeah, I totally agree. Two players that are among the most aware. Oh, was there a fit? There we go. The handshake. I was a little worried that we were about to see a major faux pas right there of a rejected handshake, but in fact, we did see the sportsmanship after all. These two players, well known to each other. There's no bad blood between them whatsoever. As Jackson going first here, and he's drawing some decent tiles.
Oh, wow.
But the
Okay.
WU combination is really the only thing that's getting in the way. But Nits, I feel like WUZ looks like a great option for Jackson here.
Oh, absolutely. I also wonder if you might be considering, well, okay, so yes, you absolutely want to start out playing short words because that's better. You don't give back as many floaters to your opponent, but I wonder if there's any merit to playing something like unmew as well,
Mm.
just turn over more tiles. But I don't think there's any reason to in this case. Was is just fine.
Yeah, the nice thing about it, it doesn't, you can't put an S on there. So there's no really easy way to, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to make sure my arrow is in the right spot. You can't put an S on here. That's not possible. Doesn't give very good tiles to play through for 8-letter words. The W, U, and Z are all probably bottom third or fourth tiles in the alphabet. Maybe the U is a little bit better, but the W and Z, very difficult to play through. Of course, for Joey, he's got that Q, and he's almost certainly going to be considering a play through the U that gets rid of the Q. The problem is that really his best way of doing so is quiver, which that is really scary, not only because there are a bunch of extensions that go across here, but also the A hook for a quiver. And we can see Jackson would definitely be using that. Well, maybe not. Quiver here, he's probably going to play famines right here. So Joey is potentially going to play Vireo instead, which would be kind of a cool play on his part. Very patient on his part if he elects to hold on to the Q when he can play it here.
I like that. It's pretty defensive. But the other thing is, I wonder if Joey should just exchange down to ER. And I know it's like not something players usually want to do because you do get a 0 for that turn. But perhaps not giving anything back to Jackson here is not a bad idea. Like it's gonna be annoying for Jackson to play through this. He's gonna have to do something with these tiles that he's put on the board. I wonder if in this case maybe just keeping just getting rid of everything else is not the worst idea.
Interesting. He's going to go ahead and play Vireo, which I think there is a rationale for this play. I really feel scared to play Quiver, making all those beautiful hooks. And I do feel like the problem with exchanging down to ER, which I really do like as an option, the only problem is that you're playing Jackson Smylie, who is very clever, and he's going to know how to respond to that in a really defensive way. We know that Jackson is going to play a bingo here no matter what. So he was going to play famines alongside was. But in cases where Jackson did not have a bingo, I could easily imagine him playing something really defensive to make Joey's next move even more difficult. So in any case, the play of Vireo giving Jackson only one playable bingo in response, Nits, it is a pretty normal word.
That's true. He has made this difficult for Jackson, but not impossible. We do see his bingo coming down quite quickly. I
Yeah.
think it's up to Joey now to just use his blank for the powers of good. Not that Jackson is not a power of good himself. He is a dominant force in this game, always has been and will continue to be.
Well, the power of good would be in this case for Jackson to get to bingo with that blank as fast as possible to give us as exciting of a game as possible to watch. What we don't want is for Joey to languish with that blank on his rack for many, many turns while Jackson races out to an even bigger lead. We always want as close of a game as possible. And I do think that Joey should be able to dump that Q now. He's got a couple options. Our really most commonly seen two-letter word, chi. He can that I need to buff it up a little bit. He could play cat in the same spot if he wants to do that. I do think that chi is a little bit better for balance left over on his rack, making sure he has two consonants and two vowels to go with that blank. But yeah, I think Joey is a turn away, one good draw after dumping his Q away, whereas Jackson now has two U's on his rack to work through.
Absolutely. I think QI is pretty much it's a pretty obvious play, and Joey's not going to waste too much time making it. So good on him for doing that. If only Jackson had like a D for upturned or something, but he's going to have to struggle with those two U's and figure out what to do here.
Wow, that's actually crazy that those terrible looking letters with the two U's actually turn into a couple different bingos, none of which actually play, but upturned, puncture through a C, and even the potentially most obscure purulent through an L. A shame that Jackson doesn't have any of those three letters because we would get to see a pretty cool bingo be played. Instead, look at Joey's tiles. That looks phenomenal.
Oh, nice.
He'll have his choice of double doubles. I'm sure he's going to see something like insulates from this IN. Certainly, sorry, that was a really poor straight line right here, but it's about to get blocked with sun up, which makes a lot of sense for Jackson to dump both of those two U's, especially with the Q already played, Nits.
Also, it's probably the easiest double-double to block at this point. I mean, not that he's necessarily only considering that, but it's a nice advantage to playing that and getting rid of his two U's.
Yeah, so it's over to Joey. I think he has a great chance of seeing his highest scoring play here of insulates going down from IN, if we could get that board flipped again. There we go. So yeah, that it's an 82 pointer right here. That's the best that he has. I wonder if he's going to hesitate just a little bit at does insulate take an S or a D hook. Maybe he's debating whether it does. I would accept. Okay, there you go. He's got the letters lined up. I fully expect him to play his 82-point double-double here and get right back in the game. But wow, Nits, Jackson's draw is phenomenal. We might be seeing an absolutely amazing follow-up play from him.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know about you, about how you feel with the blanks coming out so early in the game, knowing that there's not much volatility left in terms of drawing the blank left in the later part of the game. I'm not super surprised to see Jackson in like a great position. He's already up ahead, and I think he's just going to play Pyrex maybe next turn. I think it would be a really great scoring play. It's not going to get blocked. It's up to Joey to find his bingo now.
Pyrex is interesting because he gets rid of some of his highest scoring letters. It's worth noting that he has a 7-letter bingo on his rack that the chat is pointing out. I'm not 1,000% sure. And you see, there it is. He's pointed it out. Apteryx, he has it rather lined up on his rack. But Pyrex is sorely tempting as well, scoring a boatload of points and keeping the blank for next turn. So there will be a modest decision to make here, and Joey is about to, we're going to see what he makes this blank. Is it an S or a D? It can be either one. Looks like a D by my vision there. We'll get confirmation of that shortly. Yeah, it is a blank D for insulated. And now Jackson with a really tough call. Does he make the bingo for 89, which is by far the flashier play, or does he play Pyrex for an incredible 63, the way you pointed out, Nits?
Well, I like Pyrex because of how we think about static equity. The way that we think about it is the blank being worth around 25 points. So if he is to play Pyrex for 63, he does keep that blank, gives him another, like, think about it as like another 25 points. That's like 88, right? I mean, I wouldn't mind playing Pyrex. I wouldn't mind securing myself those 63 points now and knowing that there's a strong capacity for me to bingo like right after.
Yeah, the other nice thing is that you're on stream. If you're Jackson, we all know for a fact that he sees Apteryx, so you can rest easy and know, all right, the whole world knows that I saw Apteryx. I'm going to go ahead and play this correct strategic play, but everybody knows I saw the cool play as well. So that's one little hidden benefit of being on the stream like this. Just kidding. I don't think he's wasting any time thinking about stuff like that. But yeah, for Joey, I don't think Joey has any reason to appreciate how strong Jackson's tiles are. Pyrex is a play that you would make with almost any combination of letters there, 63 points. So Joey can't know that Jackson had the blank. So he probably thinks that after like Hammock or something alongside insulates, that he's actually in a little
Ooh.
bit better of a shape than he is.
And he sees it. He is ready to play that. And it's his highest scoring move, I believe. So go
Yeah,
for it, Joey. Nice.
nice play. Very nice. Archive also on the radar, as some of you are pointing out. That's a solid play, leaving just an M. But Hammock gets you an extra 10 points on the scoreboard, which is hard to say no to. So nicely done
And
by Joey.
as predicted, Jackson has picked up a bingo. I mean, this is not to say that it was he was compulsorily going to pick up a bingo. He did play quite a few tiles, but he's happy where he is right now. He's got a bingo that is going to play on this board.
Yeah, so he adapter. This is kind of funny because adapter scores 72, but it does open up the base of the board. Another option, he's got a couple that play through this R and E, one of which is a regular word, tap. Well, I don't know about that. Let's not stretch it. Tapadero through the E. Another is a word I've literally never seen before. I guess it's a new word, paleo art. Is that a new word? Can anybody confirm
I
this? Why am I seeing
Wow,
this being suggested?
that's really that's a really cool word. I mean, I have a minor in art history. Like my field is in art history, but I have never seen paleo art before in my life. Not even like common English.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Either of those plays through these letters is significantly more defensive. That being said, 9 points is a lot. So we'll just have to see what Jackson ends up going with. I don't think you can tell too much from Joey's last play of Hammock. Again, that is a play that Joey would make with almost any set of tiles. So I wouldn't say if from Jackson's perspective, I wouldn't say Joey is especially strong or weak holding just two tiles that could be anything. So maybe that's the time to take the 9 extra points here. That being said, I could easily see Jackson sacrificing points. And the nice thing too about Tapadero is if you actually think about how it fits on the board right here, if I write it out, the nice thing, Nits, is it creates 2 scoring spots. And if Jackson draws decently, he should get his crack at one of them.
That's a really good point because if he does play adapter, there's the one triple that Joey can hit. However, with Tapadera, as you just pointed out, there's two things he can do. I do like it that when you're going to make an opening, you make two just in case your opponent takes the other one. I wonder if Jackson is feeling is going to choose to give up those 9 points. I probably wouldn't. I mean, I feel like those 9 points are going to add up. The score is close enough as it is, and every point is going to count at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's thinking a while, but both players have been playing fast enough that they can afford to take a good think about moves like this. Jackson's still with over 18 minutes on his clock. He's still totally fine. We're getting close. After this play, it's going to be roughly the halfway point of the game. So players both doing fine on the clock. I do associate both of these two players as being very comfortable with playing at a high pace, at a fast speed. So I would be surprised to see time pressure come into play for either
Yeah.
one of them.
Well, do you think this might be a good time for foregoing a bingo? Like, think about the word pat, just PAT. making OP and Intellate, LA and Hat. It scores like 29 points and it keeps AOR blank. Now, it's not a bingo, but it also doesn't give much back. Is
Wow,
this a
that's
pre?
interesting
Or
point, Nits. So the play you're suggesting right here, maybe that is worth doing. That seems pretty solid. Nice thing about it is that it obstructs some good scoring spots. There really isn't a great way to score on the board after this if you're Joey, and you continue to hold that blank with the intent of hitting one of these lanes in the future. That's really interesting. I'm starting to come around to maybe that is as good of an option as any of the bingos here. I like it.
I know it's not always intuitive to forego a bingo, and I'm not saying it's necessarily correct to forego a bingo here. I'm just saying that with the board looking the way that it is, and depending on your ability to handle risk, perhaps it's not the worst idea if you don't want to float that R out into space, if you don't want to give out all those floaters into the wild. What does Hemic actually suggest? We don't really know.
Yeah, it's
Well,
hard. I
he
mean,
actually doesn't.
that's yeah, it suggests that Joey has great play finding and board vision, but it doesn't suggest very much about his other two tiles, which is that's a classic. Players at this level, the way I describe it is basically every play that your opponent makes is a clue that you can use to make a better play on your turn. So sometimes the clue isn't very useful, or there isn't really an actionable clue at all. But sometimes your opponent's move is a huge clue how to proceed. So ultimately, Jackson is going to go with his highest scoring play of Adapter and hope that Joey does not have any real ability to hammer the spot. And you can see, thanks to his 3 A's, he is not really going to be able to crush that spot.
Absolutely. He did have Pat lined up on the side. He did consider it. He was thinking about it, but he did eventually go with Adapter. And I think, I mean, it's a bingo. It's a lot of points. Go for it, you know?
Yeah, so he's considering playing Larvae, which would be a great way of shedding 2 of the 3 A's that Joey has on his rack. And oh man, Jackson with a pretty solid draw there. I'm not sure what he has, but he's close. It's possible that with one more fishing play for Jackson, he might be able to get his rack into bingo shape in a hurry. So Joey, this is going to be a big deal. Nits, you mentioned it before. Both blanks are already out. There's no blanks to come to the rescue for Joey here as he trails in this game. He's going to have to find some very precise natural bingos. Ooh, look at
Oh my
this.
gosh.
He goes a totally different direction. Laved for 38. This is a pretty reasonable play as well. 8 extra points and leaving the board open to continue, I should say, his comeback. What an interesting choice by him.
Keeping 2 A's, and I don't know how I feel about that, but it's definitely, I mean, it's a high scoring play. He does what he wants the board to do, and now he just has to cross his fingers and hope that Jackson can't hammer that spot, which we know he's not going to be able to. But wow, that is a risk and a half.
Yeah, it might be a risk that's worth taking just because of the oh my god, and look at that. He's drawn Caliphate to
Oh
the
my gosh.
E. So Jackson is basically never blocking this E, and Joey is going to get a bingo down that immediately revitalizes his winning chances in this game. I just don't see how Jackson's ever blocking that with a triple lane open at the base of the board. I mean, the normal plays that Jackson might make to balance his rack might be something like Zag and Ged or something like that. But given the lead that Jackson has, he definitely should be making a play exactly as he did, like Gender, and Joey is going to respond instantly. Very nice, Nits. What a good job by Joey.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. That was, yeah. These games are a pleasure to watch.
Yeah. And look at that. It blocks retorted through that same E. So Joey
Wow.
getting to that E just in time to prevent Jackson from playing in that same spot. And that's going to make Jackson's next move much, much more difficult. Jackson, without a playable bingo, his decision would have been so easy if that E stayed open. Now it got a lot tougher in a hurry.
What do you even do here? I mean, the score is tied. It is literally tied. Oof.
Yeah, that's crazy. Didn't see this game knotting up so quickly. Really, it had nothing to do with Jackson's choice of adapter as he benefited from his own play. He got to hit the triple that he opened there. It was really Joey's play of laved, which left this open, that sort of distracted from this open E. And of course, Joey with just the right draw to play there. So we got a game, folks. Wow.
Beautiful. And those two A's like leading to a bingo, an 80-point bingo, that is fantastic. Now, Jackson did spot the word doter, Doter, to the side of caliphate. He doesn't hit the triple word, but it does score 22 points. It's pretty high scoring. I think that's a good move. I mean, you should go ahead and get that down.
Yeah. So the point of this, not only does it undouble all of Jackson's duplicated tiles, Jackson had no good way to use the C on the triple. So Doter at least scores decently well, and it prevents Joey from using that C potentially in a much more damaging way. There's definitely tiles that could have really hurt. The J, for example, has a lot of things that can play through the C here. So I definitely appreciate Jackson's desire to block that C before he got hammered. And now he does continue to hold on to a lead, albeit a narrow one. Joey has a couple of options that use his O and Y. He's probably looking at Foy right here, scoring 32. Maybe, I don't know if he would consider playing those same letters here for a lower score. I'm not sure why he would do that. I do expect him to play Foy here.
I do like that, and he's going to be in the lead by 10 points after this move. He spotted it pretty much instantly. I think right now, get the points, move on. It's a great strategy. Go for it, you know?
Yeah, and pointing out that Jackson's draw far from ideal here, leaving RT. Yes, he did draw the S, which he loves to see, but IIUW is absolutely not what you almost ever want to see. That is going to set Jackson back. It's a big, big setback for him as Joey draws very good scoring tiles in that J and the two Bs. You could easily see Joey begin to put scoring pressure on Jackson here. Jackson might start to feel like he needs to be thinking about a bingo or he's going to fall behind.
Absolutely. It's interesting though how many times we've started seeing the WU combination on this stream. I think it's been like 3-4 times now today already. For the W to only exist like two tiles and the U to only be like 4 of them in the bag, they come up so often and it's so annoying. And this, folks, is why you learn your unhappy looking words. That's why you learn how to get out of these situations. And I think that what Jackson should or will probably do here is just get the W away from that U if he can't put down a WU word. I think he's probably going to do something like just wit to the T over in adapter, maybe.
Oh, brutal.
But he also probably doesn't want to do that because if he's thinking, oh, I need a bingo to get back into this game, why would he take that floater away from himself? So is he now looking at Tui on top of gender?
I think he might be considering, and this is an indictment of how difficult the position is for Jackson, he might be considering just Tui to the P of adapter, which only scores 12. But at the very least, it sets him up by putting this T here. Maybe he can respond with a W play if he draws an O, an E, or an A. Maybe he'll have, a slightly heavier hitting play with the W there. These options are really tough. Maybe he is going to just play Tui parallel to adapter and just try to hold on for dear life. This is a really difficult decision. He could play it here as well. This is where I really trust Jackson to navigate a position like this better, certainly than I could. He's a 2-time World Cup champion, defending champion for a reason. I'll be curious to see what he plays here and how he navigates this super difficult position.
He does seem to have the word wit lined up to the side. I think he might be going for weight. Is he going for weight through the A in adapter?
Oh, yeah.
I guess
Okay.
he is.
So, yep, he's playing weight. This is as reasonable as any of the other options that I pointed out. It's just brutal, right? How difficult that situation is. Maybe he's thinking that he doesn't want to obstruct the T of adapter because it's likelier. And you can see why he's drawn a playable bingo through this T. Maybe he was thinking, I want to leave it open because it meshes well with my IRSU. And now he's threatening a bingo and it's going to go down next turn. Oh my
Oh
God.
my god.
What an
Jinx.
insane swing, Nits.
Oof. This is, I mean, Joey's not going to like this coming down. You never see your opponent bingoing, but like at this point in the game, you really don't like it. The game has been tied in the last few turns, and now like the board's exhausted. You know, like what is Joey to do? What is he going to do with these clunky tiles?
That's crazy. I can't believe that Jackson just navigated that successfully. I, I mean, it is true that the T paired well with the rest of his letters there, and he elected to make a play that left it open. And sometimes that can happen for you. Of course, Joey playing jab really fast, so fast that we didn't really have time to analyze it as a choice. But actually, that was about as good as any other option that he had. I'm not sure what else he would try to do except maybe he could play ribbon or something like that down from this R, setting up his
Oh,
J to go across. Maybe that's the only other thing that he could find a way to get to there. I'm not so sure if I would have the cojones to make that play in his shoes, but setting up the J there could have been valuable for him.
and coincidentally blocking Sots Wars. I mean, that would have been fun to see because then what would Jackson have done? So Joey is in the incredible position where he does have these high scoring tiles. If he's not going to bingo, then at least he can get some range out of these. He can like try and keep up just by putting them down for a whole lot of points. I think something like Hob here might like it looks a little
Mm,
crazy making SH, but
yeah,
perhaps not
interesting.
the worst idea.
The thing about this that I find interesting is that it makes a spot that you almost have to acknowledge if you are Jackson. And think about it this way: there are 6 tiles in the bag. If Joey plays Hob, there will only be 3 tiles in the bag, which basically necessitates Jackson playing 2 tiles here, or else he risks losing to an out bingo to, for example, the C of Caliphate. And the nice thing about Hob is it leaves an I, which makes it a little bit more possible that Joey will be able to play something ending in IC. C is not the best word to end an 8-letter word with, but maybe he's in enough trouble that he has to go for something like that here. Either way, this is a tough, tough, tough move. Not really sure what I would do. A suggestion of maybe just Heem.
Oh,
That's
nice.
interesting. You do have to dodge an R from Jackson here because ream is a word, but Joey would be setting up his T with a play like that. So, and that's another good suggestion. Maybe he'll go that route. That's going to put Jackson in a bit of a bind for how to block that play. And yeah, it's definitely worth considering because bolting is possible with these 2 Gs if Joey is able. And look, he set it up, Nits. He might be getting set to play this now.
Oh, that would be incredible if he does get that. We know, however, that there's 2 Gs on Jackson's rack right now, so he's not
Oh,
going to draw into bolting, unfortunately. But it is a really cool idea. I wonder if he's also thinking of just OH, where the O in adapter is, maybe to stop a K from coming down there, because, or,
mm,
just like, or, to also fish for bolting, though. Where would that go? I'm not sure.
that's
But Heem
really
is a really good
interesting.
play.
Yeah, just this spot looks a little dangerous. The K would go down for a solid 32 points. I expect Joey to play it here just because the resulting play of bolting scores enough to really be able to come back. We know that Jackson has these 2 Gs, but I love the idea here for Joey. in a big way. So nicely done by him to give himself a fighting chance here.
I wonder, is there really any way for Joey to do this without getting a bingo? And I don't know. Theme is a fantastic play, and sorry, Heem is a fantastic play, and kudos to Chat for finding that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I just wonder, did he have any? I don't think he had a draw to the C here. It would have been amazing if he would have potentially had an 8-letter word to draw to that C, but maybe depending on how many tiles Jackson plays. So there are now 5 tiles in the bag. If Jackson plays anything less than that number of tiles, Joey might have a way. And they're okay. So Jackson's going to
Wow.
block. Very clever to block off that spot with Gadded. Very nice play. Even keeping the K to potentially score even better with in one of those spots, Nits, that you pointed out. Really nice idea.
This is rough for Joey. This is absolutely rough. It's also like the kind of time in your game where it's like you're so close. You are just, I mean, you're only a few points behind your opponent. Like 40 points is not that much, but if you realistically look at the board the way that it is, that is, I mean, it's disheartening, honestly.
Yeah, it's tough. There's not a lot of space. One really frustrating thing from Joey's perspective is that he doesn't have the right vowels to make an overlapping play right here that would open more space. He almost has nothing useful at all. Like, what's he going to play? Ill or something like that? That's really weak. Maybe something like that is warranted, but even then, you'd be giving up your I, which is the whole reason that you want to play to that C in the upper corner. This is tough. I don't really know what Joey should do now, but really nice block by Jackson on the previous turn, and we'll see if Joey's able to find something incredibly creative here.
Yeah, great recognition on Jackson's part. Also keeping that K for later, fantastic. He's just got this tough move ahead of him. I mean, I guess he could do something like I don't even know, like nothing looks great. I mean, would he do like Halo with the HA that's on the board with Heem and Gadded? Like, is that what you do? Do you do like Brew from the R and Soft Wars? He's not gonna score a lot. And
Yeah, not sure if we lost Nits for a second to internet. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. But the
for the
reason
rest
that
of the
you
tournament.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, Nits. I at least maybe it's my connection. I lost you for just a sec, but now you're back. Um, cool. So, yeah, you mentioned Halo, which is kind of interesting just to get rid of an L and an O, but I just wonder what it fishes to. The only way that works is if there's a 7-letter word that you can draw that plays here and something that plays to the C. So I'm wondering if, like, is there some thing that you can draw? I guess you could draw like Bornitic to the, if you draw RI and if you draw RE, you can draw Bornite. Maybe you create an impossible situation for Jackson where he cannot block both of those options and he doesn't know which you're likelier to have. So maybe that's the idea behind Halo here, is that you're just not blocking either of these two spots and hoping to draw something there. There really is no space on the board to open anything new. So if you're Joey, you probably have to try to draw something in ideally both of these two spots. But if you can't find anything, at least one of the two, and hope that Jackson is forced into an impossible choice, trying to block one or the other, but not both.
Right.
That's as good as I got. I don't know if anybody else sees anything better.
I mean, that was a really good analysis. I mean, also Joey is on his own out there. He doesn't have, the aids that we do. He doesn't have Zizavat open, and he doesn't have Quackle to tell him, hey, this sim's better than this. He's just gonna have to do what like he can figure out. And playing off VO, he's getting some points. He's doing his best. He's honestly just doing his best.
Yeah, and he has a 7-letter word on his rack of Toladin. The only problem is that does not fit on the board anywhere, so it's a small consolation to him there. Had he drawn one of the E's, you can see three of them on Jackson's rack. Maybe he could be threatening a play right here, and maybe he had some other draws that he could get ending in the C. But unfortunately for him, even though he's gotten pretty close on the scoreboard, this is pretty close. But Jackson with that K has more than enough scoring power to stay ahead of Joey headed into the end game here. So
Absolutely. Also, keeping those three E's, which go right by the L, it's the only thing that's left that could have hooked with the L. I mean, Joey just really needed to draw those E's. He didn't know that they were on Jackson's rack. This is as good as it gets, and Jackson's gonna come down with that K any second, I believe. He's gonna score 32 points, and he's gonna be unreachable.
yeah, I think Jackson, I assume that his tracking is correct and he can look at these tiles, one tile in the bag, the other seven of which are on Joey's rack. Excuse me, he should be able to look at these tiles and quickly ascertain that there are no vowels that play here at all. So he just has to look at this C pretty much. Maybe he should be considering 9-letter words here briefly. I wouldn't know if there are any words like that or not. It really is all about the C with these unseen tiles, no vowels that play here. And he should quickly ascertain that there is no real threat that Joey can have. So liking Jackson's chances here to suss that out and just grab a few points with the K if he wants it. If he has any doubts, he could make a blocking play holding the K and maintain his advantage in the end game. So
Absolutely.
very,
This has
very.
been yeah.
I think we were about to say the same thing, which is that this is a very, very fascinating game, Nits. Was that what you were going there?
Yes, absolutely. The tactics really come out with this. They really do, because it's not just the word knowledge we've been testing them on here. They've had to figure out where they need to play, with Jackson putting down weight, with Joey putting down leaves, with these considerations on the board, forming it to the point that it's come to. I mean, Pyrex instead of Apteryx. These are the moves that really make the game what it is, and that's what distinguishes these players from everyone else. I think these minute considerations of what actually do they need to do to formulate the board the way they want it to develop.
Yeah, for sure. We saw that quite a bit in this game with players making really savvy decisions to shape the board in their preferred direction. I just think the pivotal play in this game was I really felt like Jackson was in a world of hurt when he played weight and he was able to find a play that gave him a chance to draw this follow-up bingo. That was the big difference in the game. If not for that, I think Joey was on the verge of outscoring him in this game as long as neither player played a bingo from that point on. Joey was in great shape with the J and the two Bs, but Jackson made a play keeping that T open, and it was the real difference here. Nicely done.
Absolutely. And if Ribbon had come down instead of Jab, we would have seen a completely different game. We would have seen Jackson struggling with those low-scoring one-point tiles and nowhere to get a bingo down.
Yeah, so the question of what to do in the end game for Joey, it looks like he's getting ready to play Glint down to the triple. That seems like a reasonable choice. And for Jackson, he doesn't really have very high scoring tiles, but it doesn't matter. He's going to be up by more than enough points. And I guess with the remaining tiles on Joey's rack of the O, D, and I, he can play Odic up here. Sorry for my D. That looks like another O. But yeah, nice job by Joey. Potentially slightly better for him would have been Halloyd in that spot, as I'm too slow. The board spun. But either way, pretty accurate end game by Joey. We'll see that Jackson about to play his top play of Reneg here. And on we go to the end of the game. A pretty fascinating one, Nits.
Beautifully done on both ends. I mean, at one point, the game was literally tied. Literally tied. It could have gone either way. And look at the players; they're laughing. They've been friends for a long time. They've played each other multiple times.
Many times, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is just yet another day for them.
Yeah, there goes Joey's follow-up play of Odick. Nicely done. And we are at a final score of 462 to 412. As you pointed out, Nits, the game was tied pretty far along into the game. And look at that, 50 points, the difference on the scoreboard. Wouldn't you know that the 50 extra points for this bingo right here literally was the decider in this match? So
Oh my God.
very, very, very impressive. And a great game to sink our teeth into. Maybe we'll see what the players have to say now.
It's hard to block.
Right.
You could fish for it a few times.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a no-brainer if I didn't have the case T, obviously.
But there was 1 R in the back, which you clearly didn't think of it. Ream? Have a ream?
Sorry, what's the word?
Ream? Best played game, right?
Is that good?
Yes. It's not a bad place though, but I think you might want to go for Ream with that. Because an R you just die.
Yeah, totally worth that. Oh, here's why. That's why, because I thought I crossed it out first, then I realized I fixed it later, but I think I might have connected the dots there.
Yeah. I'm happy to drop a case E because that was dead. There's still stuff you could hit before bow, but after bow, it was like 4.
So if I had fished off the B, I would have drawn the E. That's what would have happened, right? Yeah, well, on tournaments with Philip.
Yeah, I don't know. Adapter, I didn't love. Here, Avadiro. I don't know. I consider just that for 29. I just figured like I could outrun a lot. These things open, but it kind of bit me in the ass.
Yeah, there's Smylie 9 with the IN. I thought about playing like Edelon or something, but there's too many points.
Yeah, I don't see it.
It's just like as volatile as it gets with the E in there.
I need that submission.
What do you miss? Like, you don't need the actual QR code. You can just pull it up.
I see.
All right, looks like the players are getting ready to
Well,
submit
I'm
that
sure the stream
score.
had a good.
They had a couple words exchanged about the heme play. It seemed that either Joey didn't know or wasn't thinking of the R hook, but Nits, I think it was still a really strong play by Joey. I don't think in that situation he had any other realistic choice except to play that and draw the G, even though we saw Jackson had both of those tiles. So didn't end up mattering that he didn't think of Ream. And yeah, just a pretty interesting one for us there.
Absolutely. I mean, isn't it the case that Joey at the time kept a T, I believe?
He did,
or
yeah.
He eventually, yeah, so I mean, even if he didn't know Ream, he still had theme, you know. It's a really good idea at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally agree. So as these players wind down their round 5 game, just want to remind everybody we've got 2 more games to go, both from the North American focused WoW Lexicon division. And next up we have, if you watch my YouTube videos, a player that you may recognize, Jerry Lerman. He's been on there a number of times doing incredible Scrabble feats one way or another against Nigel, no relation, not Nigel Richards, but Nigel Peltier, who has an incredible streak and a penchant for cashing in these big events, these championship level events, one of the most consistent performers over the last decade. So no surprise that we would have another great matchup, Nits, coming up in round 6.
Absolutely. And we never know when one of these streams turn into a video for you later. We have seen some incredible things happening on these commentated streams. And who knows, with Jerry Lerman and Nigel up against each other, this might be one for the books.
Yeah, Jerry does have a knack for doing pretty epic things. So let's hope that he gives us more fodder for the YouTube channel. Not that I have any shortage There's pretty much a steady flow of incredible content coming in July. The Albany tournament to start the month, of course, the Scrabble Players Championship just last week, and now the Word Cup, WGPO, and Collins Coalition from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I think what we're going to do right now is take the shortest break, and we're going to